Ready, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I think it was said earlier that it was difficult to do the keynote speech, but I think the inspirational speech at 6 o'clock is really amazing. I'll try to keep it short. But I'm really delighted to be there, and I think my objective will be to try to also connect the dots from what was said during this very rich session, focusing on the digital data space, but also the opportunities that the AI brings to it, and also the stakeholders that we need to. So I will start with the legislative cycle. It's something that you have seen already in this afternoon. We have. Of course, the session itself focused very much on the first part of the legislative process, which is really the legislative drafting. But I think it's also important to be aware that it's part of a bigger legislative cycle with really promulgation, access to law, and citizen participation. And this whole process is fundamental for our society is based on law and democracy. So I think this is ultimately why we all there is also to contribute to a well-functioning tool for supporting democratic life in our societies. So I'm speaking here, so in the name of the Publications Office, and just to with those of you who are not so familiar where we intervene in this cycle. So I would say first, in this legislative drafting, as my colleague Edita has shown you, we are in charge of the standardization part, so for you and other standards. Secondly, our I would say core work and core business is at the stage of the promulgation and publication, since we are publishing the authentic official journal of the EU. And since the 1st of October, we are publishing the act by act, the Gazette form, which was the heritage of the print time, and now we are publishing act by act. So we are quite happy about that, also to improve its searchability. And then finally, in the access to law, of course, we did it several times, but we manage the EULEX website. So of course, there are many actors, but here that gives you a little bit of an overview of where we actually contribute to legislative cycle. Let me turn, I will not go into all details of this, but to the European digital legal space. So the new legal landscape is not simple. As you're aware, in addition to EU law adopted by the EU institutions, there are also legal rules of each member states, but at regional level. But they're also, on all these, they are really interrelated. They're dependent on each other, and they are even also related to other legal systems, like the systems of European Convention of Human Rights or the United Nations or EEA. So it's quite a complex area. At the Publications Office, one of our strategic objectives is actually to build this digital legal space to make things easier for the lawyers and the citizens, and to have this complex corpus of legislation more easily findable and also readable across languages. We publish the law in 24 languages, and that it is navigable and also understandable. Typically, in order to make it understandable, we also, for example, produce summaries of legislation, which are quite popular, including among students, for example. So it's the complexity of the law, but also how to make it more understandable by citizens. So we understand this broad and complex situation that AI has a lot of potential. So here, just put those as examples of areas where we are actually either currently piloting AI or where we intend to pilot AI. So at Publications Office, but I would say also in the European institutions more generally, there are different areas where we can really use AI. First, to manage content with AI-assisted cataloging. There, we are actually piloting already for quite some time the use of the SETA tool, which was presented earlier, for automatic indexing and cataloging. So it's very successful and powerful. And slides that were shown earlier with SETA, not noticed, but they were related to Cellar, which is our big database behind, and the publications side. So it's really something that already works, still in piloting phase, but in a very satisfactory piloting. There is also potential for obviously translation and summaries in the future, and this is where then the machine and man can work together. Secondly, there is also potential more in the access parts, personalized access, personalized advice, and also we've been working with part of the Open Portal on transforming text to speech and speech to text, also for persons with disabilities. Thirdly, of course, one of the objectives is also to automatize written tasks, and there are a lot of, cases where we can explore. So the potential of AI can also be exploited to increase efficiency in legal drafting. I think this was already shown this afternoon with many of the speakers, so I will not come back to it. But clearly, that can help into finding logical inconsistencies, coherent use of definitions. I think it was mentioned by Monica, and abbreviations as well. A lot of the things that can cause quite a lot of problem for the. So I would just like to mention one use case, which was already, I think it's wrapping up the things of the session, but reporting obligations. There has been some recent developments there. Of course, to have an honest assessment of the effects of what our rules have on businesses and notably small and medium-sized enterprises. And the European Commission has launched an initiative really called the SME Relief Package to really improve the situation and the impact of the legislation on business. It plans to have a rationalization of reporting requirements and a reduction of the burden by 25%. Also plans to really establish a standardized way of mapping reporting requirements in the existing legislation and also in the new proposals. I think there, I see the contribution in 3 steps. Currently, this initiative is really from this year. What we have started doing is really analyze the EURLEX data based on metadata and the structured data that we have to identify a list of these reporting obligations, and the idea was to extract the information of who should report what to whom, by when, and how frequently. So this is really just not AI, this is just exploiting really the structured data. This, in turn, can feed into a project which I think was also mentioned before, which is led by the GRC with the SETA tool and together with Digit, actually use the AI based on this input. So I think, hopefully, SETA we can really then good overview of all the reporting obligations, and then I think finally for the future, work that has just been possibly on the AKN for this will pave the way for doing that systematically and upfront for the future. So I really see a sequence of action there, but all going in the same direction to the potential of AI and to actually improve. In the end, will be an overview of the legislator and also a benefit for businesses and the SMEs. Finally, I think it was also mentioned there, but we are the public sector, so we need to also make sure we provide trustworthy AI. Of course, we need to respect what we also include as AI principle in our own legislation, and this is primarily also for the public sector. So the key main principles, as you know, are to have lawful, ethical, and robust. And here I would like to share one example of something we have done So in practice, we have a chatbot on our open office portal, which is called Publio. And with a team of lawyers and our experts, we have actually developed our first explainability notice, which was really very much welcome. It was actually quite a lot of work to do it, but it's really available on this website, and it really explains step by step. I mean, all the work that was done, all the sources of the data, and all the step works that are put together. So you can find it. It looks this on the Publio. So I think it's a way also to show that we are trying to do a responsible use of AI, and also the teams and the skills needed to do that, and really the disciplinary approach that is needed to do that in the right way. To conclude, I would say that among European institutions, we are teaming up, sharing assessments and experience, trying to combine our forces to stay attuned of the very rapidly technological landscape. And I think we actually need this team efforts to ensure responsible use of AI to make the legislative cycle both more efficient and also more transparent.
Thank you very much.